On the next episode of Sips, Suds, and Smokes,
we are taking a tour through the history of Asheville brewing in a way, and we're going to be talking about the second oldest brewery in Asheville, North Carolina, which cracks me up considering how it's not that old in the grand scheme of things, but it is in a way. What we're doing is we're going to do a brewery takeover of Green Man Brewery in Asheville, North Carolina.
The Green Man Brewery beers we'll be tasting and discussing today are the ESB Special Amber Ale at 5.5% ABV, the IPA at 6.2%, the GABF 2021 Gold Medal winning Porter at 6.6% ABV. Congratulations on that. That is huge. Their lager at 4.2%, and the Tart Berry Berliner Weisse style ale at 4.2% ABV.
we'll be right back after this break. Brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Grab a drink of choice, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Get yourself comfortable in your nice, cozy chair and settle in, because we're taking a little drive into history of sorts. I am Gal Juliana, and this is a Suds segment where the more we drink, the smarter we sound. Well, I mean, at least to us. Joining me at the table today is good old Boy Kendall.
Hello. I'm really excited to be here.
He always sounds smart, though.
He's very smart.
I know. That's why he sounds smart.
Reverend Mark, hello.
Hello. It's so good to be here today with you all.
Yay.
He sounds like he should be hosting like a kid's show or something. Hello, children.
This is a family-friendly beer show.
That's true.
This is, yes.
I'm a Mr. Rogers of
Reverend
beer.
Mark, tell us about the history of beer.
Well, kids, it goes like this.
Yeah.
Was that with or without rabbits?
No,
Oh,
let's
don't
not
get
do
into that
Let's not do
story.
Good old boy Sean, hello.
Hello. Good to be back, and hello to everyone out there listening to us, wherever you're listening to us at.
Yes.
Hey, well,
And-
that was a lot.
He was just acknowledging everyone
All right.
that's listening to us, which is good. We need to do that from
Sounded
time to time.
complex.
It was, as it should be. Good old boy Dave, hello.
I got the poo on me.
Oh, boy.
That's how you introduce yourself.
As
I'm
we
setting the tone.
Yeah. Well, okay. Today I'm really excited about. We are taking a tour through the history of Asheville brewing in a way, and we're going to be talking about the second oldest brewery in Asheville, North Carolina, which cracks me up considering how it's not that old in the grand scheme of things, but it is in a way. What we're doing is we're going to do a brewery takeover of Green Man Brewery in Asheville, North Carolina. Good old boy Dave, why don't you hit us with some knowledge?
Okay. Let's see. Hello, friends. A green man is a sculpture, unless it's the Incredible Hulk. A green man is a sculpture, drawing, or other representation of a face surrounded by or made from leaves. Branches or vines may sprout from the nose. Ow, dude, that would mess up your sinuses. Nose, mouth, nostrils, or other parts of the face, and these shoots may bear flowers or fruit. Commonly used as a decorative architectural ornament, Green Man are frequently found on carvings in churches and other buildings, both secular and ecclesiastical. That's Reverend Mark's area of expertise.
Yes.
The Green Man is also a popular name for English public houses, and various interpretations of the name appear on ensigns, which sometimes show a full figure rather than just the head. And you'd be surprised where the branches come out when it's the full body. Anyways, so the legendary Green Man has existed for centuries, but it's no myth that he's been brewing great beer in Asheville since 1997. As one of North Carolina's original breweries, Green Man has been producing some of the beer scene's most iconic ales. Our offerings are consistently recognized for quality and loyalty to traditional English styles. Additionally, our brewers strive to bring innovative and exciting new flavors to beer-loving folks.
Thank you.
That was a lot of hard words to say.
It was, wasn't
I
it?
felt like I had branches coming out of my...
Eyeballs.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Are you a Branch Davidian?
Oh! And we're done.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That didn't take long,
We'll see
did
if we
it?
can leaf that out.
Gosh. Good old boy Sean, why don't you give us a lineup for today?
Sure thing. The Green Man Brewery beers we'll be tasting and discussing today are the ESB Special Amber Ale at 5.5% ABV, the IPA at 6.2%, the GABF 2021 Gold Medal winning Porter at 6% ABV. Congratulations on that. That is huge. Their lager at 4.2%, and the Tart Berry Berliner Weisse style ale at 4.2% ABV.
Thank you very, very much. Reverend Mark, why don't you give us the SUDS ratings for today?
Be glad to. Today we'll be discussing and rating these beers with the SUDS ratings plus our signature belching sounds. Here are how the ratings go. 1, that sucks. Give me anything but a bud. Number 2, was that a belch? Number 3, what a relief. Number 4, a body should really not make that sound. And number 5, listen to that hang time. Give me another.
Okay, before we get into the beer, though,
Uh-oh.
Reverend Mark, okay, since you're on the churchy side of things.
No more. But anyway. I'll try
Well,
to
you know
be.
what I mean.
Oh,
but
you're still churchy.
You're
All right,
churchy.
You're
Yeah.
way churchy.
Green Man for you.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Does it mean anything?
You know, I think it has more of Celtic kind of connections to Christianity than it does like a broader Orthodox understanding of how you signify a church. So that's what little I understand about.
Okay.
And Christianity is not homogeneous. I mean, you have to look
don't
at.
say.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that discussion either. That's one reason. Yeah. We try to be more friendly than we need to be. And I'm not speaking for the church, believe me. I'm just speaking for my knowledge of the church. But yeah, I do think that it has a lot of connections with the Celtic
So do you
roots
think
of Christianity.
Yeah. Do you think as a way to bridge and kind of make pagan people more amenable to coming into the church,
That's what I was
let
wondering.
them involve some of their symbolism and stuff like that?
Exactly. And when I was a young pastor, there was this one woman in my church. She was just against any kind of drink it under any kind of conditions. And I reminded her that, the very first miracle in the Gospel of John was Jesus turning water into wine, And she thought about this. She knew the Bible really, really well. She thought about it. And then she just said, well, I know, but he shouldn't have done that.
No way. Wow.
At least she's honest.
She would have given Jesus a good scolding.
So the
You
lesson
should
to
have
me as a young minister was, whatever Jesus doesn't get away with, you are surely not going to get away with.
Nice.
That's fair.
So I drank my beer in the parking lot before I came into the church.
Before
Got it out of the way.
Before we went to the spaghetti dinner.
With the potluck and ambrosia salad for dessert. Yes.
And the green Jello salad.
Oh,
There's the connection.
yes.
The green.
Yeah.
Very good.
Wow.
Very
Leaves
good.
and twigs and branches.
Nice. They left the stems in. Yeah.
Hey, that's a little essence. You got to have a little essence.
And you had to stay away from the spaghetti and meatballs from the widow that had the 16 cats.
Yeah.
Ooh, meatballs, hairballs, you know.
Oh.
All right. How about we maybe drink a beer?
Oh, less. Okay, let's start with a classic, or at least I think this one is a classic. It's their ESB, Special Amber Ale, 5.5% ABV. It's their take on a classic. This English Amber Ale is brewed with 100% English ingredients, using only Simpson's malts, English Fuggle hops, and classic English Ale yeast strain. Expect malty notes of toasted biscuit, toffee, caramel, along with low notes of dried fruit from the yeast and herbal and woody flavors from the hops. And everyone is nodding their head in agreement. Yeah. A balanced everyday drinker inspired by the British pub. A malty amber ale boasting rich toasted and caramel flavors. It is one of their award-winning signature brews as well. And I believe this has taken many awards at GABF over the years.
I do believe, yeah. Probably should have looked that up before we started the taping, but yes,
It's all good.
It's an excellent beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. All those descriptors you read, they're all there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this had been a blind tasting, I would have almost thought Fuller's or I mean, not to take away from them.
Sure.
But it's very classic. Has that nice, just enough sweetness to end on.
Yeah.
The only thing I wouldn't have picked up on if they hadn't said it, I think, was the dried fruit. But then once they say it, then it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you definitely get that toasty, nutty, a little bit of caramel all going on.
Definitely
all
caramel.
the way through it.
Toffee in the nose.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for somebody that is used to maybe some beers that don't have a lot of flavor, and we've all been there in high school, college, whatever. Having something like this really, to me, highlights the fact that beer can be so much more.
At 5.5%.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot going on here, but it's layered. It's lovely. It's easy drinking. Anybody can be happy with this. There's a little bit of hopness to it. So for those of you that like hops, you're going to taste it. It's there. It's not going to be in your face, but it's still available. And for those of us that love the malts and the yeast, this thing shines. It's like sunshine. It's so good.
And it is the malt thing. And often they're slightly under attenuated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So right out of the gate, I think it's safe to say we're going to give this ESB a SUDS-5.
Woohoo!
Man, that's starting out high, man. I hope the rest of the flight can.
But this is a classic, and they've been doing it so well for such a long time.
Yeah, it's so dialed in. But, when you go into a traditional place, this is what you would want.
I've had the pleasure of selling a number of pints of this beer.
Bet that.
We will be back with more beer from Green Man in just a minute. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're talking about a brewery that is part of the fabric of Asheville, North Carolina, and, North Carolina for that matter. We're talking about Green Man Brewery in Asheville that started in 1997. And, man, with that first beer right out of the gate being so yummy, let's see where we're headed next. We're going to talk about the IPA. It is their original flagship beer, clocking in at 6.2% ABV. It's a classic American take on the original IPAs from Burton-on-Trent, England, for those of you that may not know that. Built on a base of Golden Promise malt and just a touch of crystal malt, when they layer in the American sea hops, and for those of you that don't know the seas, it is Columbus, Centennial, and Cascade. Brewing new and old world together to create an IPA their fathers would be proud of. So, thoughts?
Definitely a classic British style IPA.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the hops.
Right.
The malt backbone of a British IPA comes straight through on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you were a fairly new craft beer drinker and you walked in and it's like, I'm going to have the IPA, you're not getting the beer you think you're getting. Because it's not going to be juicy or hazy or fruity or sweet. This is a classic. You get those toasty, caramelly notes. but what's great is that twist the American hops give it that citrusy orange and a little lemony contrast to what's going on.
Yeah.
I got this like smile in my belly and on my taste buds. No, because it's not too much of one way or another, you know?
Yeah.
And being like an amateur history person, I love the provenance of what this means, because honestly, beer in America would be nothing without beer from overseas to help us. Yeah, I mean, for us to put our little twist on, but the basis of everything. And I don't just mean England, I mean a lot of Europe and a lot of places there. And this is, simple is better. And this is simple. I mean, the little extravagance, if you will, is the American hops that are, the seeds that are put into it. But just, it's hitting all the notes.
Yeah,
and it's so tasty.
Really, the only, the main thing that makes this different from just a traditional English IPA would, if it was English hops, it'd be just a little more floral, maybe kind of more earthy instead of the citrus pop. But I think it really works.
It does.
Really well.
Yes.
Right. I like it personally. I think also it still tilts in the direction of the original style.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%.
And so, it really is good for beer history to say, this is where it all came from. And it was sort of like a creature that was birthed out of necessity. These casks were overhopped to be shipped long distances. And this is kind of what you came up with. And yeah, it's still good to sort of have that as a benchmark.
It is. Yeah. Because it's still relevant today. And I think even more so now that we're getting, well, at least I feel that I'm getting away from the extravagance of what beer flavors has become to bring it kind of back. And this is such a great example of that.
And it's a good example of what I used to call the East Coast IPA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before hazies
True.
existed, there was a definite style that was different from the big hoppy West Coast ones. And they featured that classic British malt backbone, but with American hops.
Dogfish Head is another example in that. And then Brooklyn's IPA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Brooklyn was a great
So they would use British malts rather than,
Yeah, British malts, but then they'd use the American hops, which is what makes it, really interesting and makes it the East Coast. Yeah. Yeah, and having someone that's recently revisited a British style IPA from a very well-known brewery out of Ohio, that was quite a disappointment. This is quite a treat to taste. And, I'm not saying it's maybe the British hops that made it a disappointment, but this is much more enjoyable to drink than what I recently had that shall remain nameless.
Yeah. Very easy drinking, and
I could do it.
Yeah.
the IPA from Green Man, we are going to rate a 5 as well.
Let's keep that train rolling. So, interestingly, Green Man, they do, English style beers. So, as a topic of discussion, I found something on the interweb from England, and might kind of let the show take a little bit of a darker turn. But so a gentleman was kind of digging around his house, and he found an exposed wire that was leading behind the wall under the stairs in his house. And so he kind of dug around in there, and he found like this little crevasse or something, and like a little cavity behind the stairs. And there was a doll. And I'm going to tell you right now, I hate dolls. Okay. So I hate dolls because they're creepy.
Did you ever have G.I. Joe?
Yeah.
It's not a doll. It's an action figure.
You're thinking of the Twilight Zone. Hi, I'm talking Tina, and I'm going to kill you.
So
Chucky.
So this doll, her name was Emily.
Oh no!
What a sweet name.
And she had a note with her, and the note said, "Thank you for freeing me. My original owners lived in this house in 1961. I didn't like them, so they had to go. All they did was sing and be merry. It was sickening. Stabbing was my choice of death for them, so I hope you have knives. Hope you sleep well." And that was kind of the note. Yeah. So he finds a doll under the stairs with a note that basically she murdered the previous owners of the house, and I hope you have knives and I hope you sleep well. And he thought it was funny. His friends encouraged him to sell the house immediately. I would have burned it down. Frankly, I would have just burned it down. But yeah, that's England. There you go. All right.
Wow, it's crazy over there.
Yeah. So, what is like? Have you? So, I had a house in East Nashville, and I found a needle and a spoon tucked away in the
in
rafters.
a crevasse.
Yeah, in the rafters of the basement. Luckily, did not prick myself in the needle. That's the only
old East
weird
Nashville.
things I've found in a home from previous owners. You guys ever found anything after you buy a house? And
I never have.
No, and I live in a very old home. And the only thing, it's not creepy so much, it's just kind of very dated now, is where they would measure the heights of a child that's growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's against an inside closet that has a duct that's covered in asbestos.
Oh,
So that child only got to be so tall, and then it says, she died.
no.
I'm just kidding.
Well played. Well played.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Yeah. The only parallel
Died from asbestosis.
yeah. You were this high when you,
Yeah, when your
finally
your lungs
get-
filled up with
yeah. You finally breathed enough of that stuff. Yeah. Well, you grew up partially in the house your grandfather built, right?
My great grandfather built. Yes.
That is still standing.
It is still standing. It was built in the 1870s. For those of you that don't know, I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. We got a lot of old homes that are
A lot of old people too.
and yes, there's a lot of old people. So there's a little attic hole in what was my brother's what was that place where you closet?
Bedroom? Okay, closet.
Yep,
Sure,
closet.
sure. Those are good.
And me, the inquisitive kid that I am, I mean, I had to go up there, right?
Sure.
I mean, I had to. So I go up there and I find some papers that unfortunately had a lot of, there must have been dampness or whatever, but there were papers that my great grandparents put up there. Unfortunately, I didn't know what they were because they were, so yeah, there's something of that. Interesting that family members would put stuff up in an attic that was really hard to get to because you had to get into a closet and then put a little ladder in that closet. And the closet space was not huge. I mean, because back in the day, you had trunks and armoires. You didn't have closets per se. So this was, I guess, an extravagance to even have a closet in a bedroom. You know what I mean?
Because didn't they, like when they taxed people or something, they would, like, they counted rooms and like, and if
Exactly.
it
And a
didn't have
closet was a room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how my great grandparents coming off the boat, and where they were, like, actually had the money to even have this. But there were closets in 2 of the 3 bedrooms that were there. So that's like, I mean,
So it was technically a 6-bedroom house.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
Although
So when
really,
they would say,
yeah.
"Hey, come out of the closet," like it was actually like your room.
It-
Yeah,
maybe.
Think about that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
even in my old house, the so-called walk-in closet
Yeah.
has just recently been built in that way. It was the washroom.
No.
Yeah,
way.
yeah. The only walk-in closet in my house at one time originally was the washroom.
Did you have
Wow.
a water closet?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they used to call a shower. It was a water closet.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Yeah, really impressive. And when my grandmother married my grandfather, the house got a little remodeled because, again, the house was so old it needed to, and they were planning on having at least one child, if not a couple. And I mean, they got one, my mom. But my grandmother wanted a cedar closet because that was the thing back then. So she could have a fireplace or she could have a cedar closet. And she chose the cedar closet. Like, how crazy is that, right?
You would not want a cedar fireplace.
No, but also like cedar would keep the moths away.
Yeah.
So it was-
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and for
Yeah,
the clothes of the time, I think that was pretty,
I have a cedar closet in the hall.
okay.
I do.
That's it. No, but that's a
Do
thing.
you just walk in there and just smell?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's where the asbestos thing is.
Well, that'll keep the moths away too. I think.
Yeah. Like,
Smell the cedar, inhale the asbestos. What's
So at my
it's going to kill the moths in 2 different ways.
At my parents' house,
Wow.
right on the outside wall, right by the back door, there's a little chunk taken out of the brick. From where the people that my parents bought the house from, the wife took a shot at the husband and took a chunk out of the wall. So there you go. All right. Well, that's cool.
Well, it's her Second Amendment right to do that.
That's right. So I think to bring this all around, we can just all say that we hate dolls and they're creepy. So
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
yeah. Hey, you're a doll.
A clown doll.
Ooh, yeah.
That's my kryptonite.
Okay, moving on. Let's get to the beer that has recently won an award for them at GABF. But I have a feeling that this might not have been the first time. I mean,
They're old hat at winning awards.
Yeah, exactly. So this is their porter, folks. 6% ABV, a beer style steeped in lore and tradition. Their robust porter is made of a rich, flavorful blend of English, crystal, and roast malts, hung on a backbone of Simpson's Golden Promise. And where would we be without Golden Promise malt?
Love it.
I mean, seriously. Hops stay out of the way, allowing the malt complexity to shine. Lots of coffee, chocolate, dark caramel, or caramel for those of you that speak it that way, meld through the flavor and aroma. I mean, wow.
This is perfect.
Wow. This is amazing.
And you talk about classic British lineage. I mean, you can taste it in this beer.
It's just so satisfying.
Oh my God, it's the best thing ever.
It honestly is. And for the porter being the redheaded stepchild of a stout, at least I feel that way, to find a well-made porter is, I mean, something that you want to shout from the rooftops, because the ABV on it is lower. It's more, everyday, if you will. And the complexity of this is just stunning.
But we also have Anchor Brewing Company to thank for the salvation of the porter, because the porter almost went extinct except for
Fritz Maytag.
Fritz Maytag.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And here we go with a little bit more history. I mean, in the scheme of things.
And Anchor at one time had the best porter, at least on this side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, this is a great example. I'm getting chocolate, coffee, even a little bit of cola. It finishes semi-dry. It does have enough little bitterness there to balance out all that sweetness going on. But
yeah,
I mean, I've always thought this was Green Man's best beer. Their porter is just always been rock solid.
Yeah,
it's definitely an influence on me as a brewer. I once again sold a lot of this beer at one point in my life, and when I worked on a porter recipe,
probably drank a lot of this
and
beer.
drank a lot of it as well. But yeah, I definitely looked to the Green Man Porter for when I worked on my porter recipe.
So, in the Golden Promise is really
Actually, I did not use Golden Promise. Actually, I'm trying to remember what I used because I was going more sessionable. I think I actually just used a regular pale malt, but yeah. Maris Otter or Golden Promise would be wonderful. Yeah. And are wonderful malts to brew with.
A lot of that toasty, biscuity flavor that comes out of there. So
good.
For
those of you thinking about brewing a brown porter, brown malt, Simpson's brown malt or Chris Brown is also a really nice malt. They don't list brown malt in this one, so I suspect it's not there, but that's definitely one that I've come across that, boy, that'll just take your porter to the next level.
I would say like a good first step for anyone who's going to brew a porter would be to drive to Asheville, camp out and drink a lot of this beer. Probably 3 gallons of it.
I mean, a good reference standard. I mean, honestly, and kudos to them for sticking with these beer styles. And I mean, again, they've been around since 97. These are classics, if you will, and they're just as relevant today as they were in the 90s. And I mean, and obviously across the pond beforehand, but it's
not just relevant, a revelation.
And the 3 beers we've had so far are all great representations of when you put a really interesting American twist on classic British styles. And I don't think very few breweries do it as well as Green Man.
True.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's still paying homage to, the originals, like the forefathers, if you will, putting a little bit of an American twist, but still standing true to what these styles are supposed to be, as opposed to completely going off the rails, and just, wow, beautiful. I can't say enough.
There's no stink on this.
No, there is no stink on this. We are going to rate the classy porter from Green Man, A5.
And once again, congratulations on your GABF
Yes.
win.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yes.
guys.
Well deserved.
I was quite happy to see that one listed.
Yeah, it is. And, again, an underrated beer style. There's
How long has it been since we did 3 5s in a row?
I was thinking the same thing. It's been forever if we've done it at all.
Maybe
Edmund's
the Edmund's Oast show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they were all 5s.
Yeah.
There
yeah,
were-
I think there were some some 4s that were bordering in
this
there.
is
but
just
yeah. And again, these are styles that you really can't hide behind either, in the scheme of things. So even more kudos to the brewers, the beautiful brewers that they are. Okay, let's go now more American, and we're going to talk about the Wayfarer American IPA. Oh, no, sorry, we're doing the lager. Sorry. We're doing the lager. The American Light Lager is made from 100% malt and German Hallertau hops. It's 4.2% ABV, so super light. An easy drinking crusher for when you just want a beer. They lager the beer for 3 weeks after a low and slow fermentation with a classic German lager yeast. Notes of cracker and light grain are balanced with just a touch of herbal noble hop characters.
this is what you give your Bud Light friends to tell them to shut up.
Yes.
Like this.
Yep.
And they're showing they can't only do classic British styles. They can pull off basically a classic German style. Super nice lager.
Clean, but some little aromatic.
And this doesn't taste 4.2%.
It's so light.
It is light, but there's oomph
still
there.
flavor.
There's
Oh yeah. And I love those herbal notes you get of those Hallertau hops. It's just a great German hop, and it really works well with this light malt,
Kind of
crispy,
floats right on top
crackery
of it.
malt.
Yeah.
Just perfect balance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we're too busy drinking to talk about it. But yeah, I think this is a kind of beer that, like, lawnmower beer, boat beer, going out camping beer,
Beer
sitting
flavored
inside beer.
Gateway to craft beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Buy this beer and give it to everyone you know.
Well, we'll be back with last thoughts on this lager and some other beers in just a minute. Welcome back, everyone.
Thanks.
Today
Oh,
we...
you weren't talking to me.
No, I was talking to our listeners.
Oh, both of them.
I think there's
Kidding.
5.
No.
Yeah, I think there's 5. So we've been waxing poetic, but talking about Green Man Brewery in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm still amazed about the fact that we have not done a brewery takeover of them yet. That just seems so foreign to me. But
How dare us.
I know, right? Sorry, but we're
We're always
making up
going for the
it.
new people,
I blame.
and they've been around forever.
I blame Mike.
Yeah, I guess no, you're absolutely right. So we were talking about their lager, beautiful American light lager, so much better than other things that are out there in the universe. And any last thoughts on it?
This is one more example of why I'm excited that craft brewers are doing lagers.
Yeah.
Lager was such a dirty word for such a long time in American beer. And it's nice that we're coming back around to something that should be enjoyed as one of the best types of beer. And is really as varied. Lagers can be as varied and prolific as ales could ever be.
Yeah.
And if they're done right. And this is one more example of why lagers are great and why people should enjoy them.
I think lagers have always been great, but it's like time is money.
Yeah.
And it takes more time to produce a lager. And so
true.
that's why you see fewer of them.
Well, and then by the time, the American craft beer movement kicked off, lagers were synonymous with, like the McDonald's of beer. It was,
Right.
mass produced,
Yeah.
cheap swill.
Right.
Throw some rice in there and put it on beechwood.
True.
Oh, that beechwood contributes so much
Oh
flavor.
man. Yeah. Might as well age it on beech nut.
Wow. Anyways, well, we are going to rate this beautiful lager from Green Man a 4.
Keep it rolling.
So I wanted to break away from the beer for a second and just talk about those of us that remember going to Green Man in some iteration and what that experience was like. You know, like for Dave and I, our first foray into Green Man was at Jack of the Woods, which was
Like a pub.
it's a pub that started in 1997, which has the Green Man logo and originally was the Green
Affiliated
Man, right? With Green Man.
Yeah.
And when I saw that beer engine on tap, like I knew that I was home.
And I think I can't remember which ones we had, but like you could have the beer like through, just forced carb, normally, and then you could have the same beer but through the beer engine.
I want to say it was the ESB that we had.
May very well have been. And anytime you can do that, you can really understand how well a beer is made. Because it's completely
It's a cool
different.
spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first place that was, I think, the only place that I identify with having gone there originally.
Yeah.
But I would return. I used to go to a place nearby called Lake Junaluska, so it's really like 30 miles from Asheville. So been there a few times, but the ESB is really the one that I kind of remember the most, even though today we've uncovered several of their perennials that are just amazing, but the ESB is the one I remember the most.
Well, and it's the style a lot of people don't make, and it's not as
Well, it's a style that does not sell all that well, for being honest. There's several breweries around Nashville have tried it and tried distributing it, and it just doesn't fly off the shelf.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they make it work. But yeah, the Jack of the Woods is cool. My favorite place the first time I went was at the bar they now call Dirty Jack's, which is kind of where they moved operations after they left Jack of the Wood. And it feels like a dive bar with a little small brew house in it. And it's a really cool place. It's been there forever and it's still there. You can still go to Dirty Jack's. And then now, like 100 yards down the street is the new tap room and the new brewery. And they've kept all the old stuff, but they expanded and put a new brew house in. And the new place they call the Mansion, and it's gorgeous and beautiful and a great place to drink beer. But yeah, if you go to the south slope of Asheville, hit Dirty Jack's and the Mansion both. They're just right there next door to each other, and you've got 8 other breweries, just a few blocks away to check out.
Yeah, and you know what? And one thing that I love about Asheville is that you have so many, per square foot, you have so many breweries that are there, but they're all thriving and they're all doing something just slightly different. So they're all together and they're all coalescing, so to speak. It's such a great mecca, but anyways, okay.
And while you're there on the south slope, I always highly recommend Vortex Donuts. So you can pair your donuts with your beer too.
Oh, wow.
Yum.
Tell me more.
It's like on the other side of the block from Green Man.
Yeah.
And I do not go there without getting a good donut.
Yeah.
Yum.
Good to know, because I'm going to be there this weekend.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. Sean's
All
going to have to report back
We'll
on
have
the
to do
donut.
a beer donut pairing show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Several breweries around town have done those.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Really? Why not? It's the best of both worlds. Okay, well, moving on. The next beer that we're going to discuss is the Tart Berry Berliner Weisse. 4.2% ABV, light, fruity, and refreshing. Tart Berry is their fruited Berliner Weisse style that keeps people coming back for more. They produce all Tart Berry in their specialty brew house using 700 plus pounds of blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries. And no, good old boy Mike was not harmed in this episode. Expect a wine-like fruity punch in the aroma and a tart, dry finish.
I would say that's pretty accurate. There's sort of a wine note that comes out of this thing and a nice crisp tart finish. I like it, man. I think this is a pretty balanced, well done Berliner.
Yeah, when you poured it, I thought, oh no, here we go. Another fruity, overly tart Berliner Weisse.
Yeah.
And then I tasted it. And the wine, when they say wine-like, holy cow, they nailed it. The fruit in this is so rich and jammy. And this is a fantastic beer. And it really does almost make me think more of a wine than a beer.
It does. To me, this brings to mind, we were before the episode, we were talking about Zwan's Day and just what this time of year kind of brings. And this to me would be something that is welcomed at like a Zwan's Day festival. You know what I mean? Like
it's like a Beaujolais Nouveau.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good
That's great.
good analogy. because just at 4.2 ABV, I would be, if I didn't know that, I would be kind of careful about drinking too much of this, because there is some really great a fruit symphony, a light, bright fruit symphony going on here that's more wine-like.
It's
But
very,
now you can let your hair down and drink as much
and
as you want.
it's rich and complex. There's really a lot going on.
Which is amazing, again, at 4.2%. I mean, there's just a ton going on. What do you think, Sean?
Delightful, refreshing. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm getting down with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bone diggity.
How cool. Well, we are going to rate the Tart Berry from Green Man a 4.
Solid.
Yeah. So we have time for at least one more. So let's get into the Wayfarer IPA.
Bonus beer.
Exactly. 6% ABV. Their American IPA was designed to be light on the malt and full of Citra hop flavor. Made with American two-row white wheat for a light body, this beer is then loaded with a combo of brewer-selected Citra and Simcoe in the whirlpool and then dry hopped. So this is a little grapefruit pithy, a little peachy, a little apricot, and a hint of dank.
So remember when I said the original IPA, you give that to a new craft beer drinker, they're not going to have any idea that that's an IPA. This is what they're going to say.
Yes.
Right.
This is the beer they're going to go, oh, that's an IPA.
Right.
Yeah.
It is so modern.
Yeah.
And this is actually what I like with an American IPA
Same
myself.
here. Yes.
This is what I like.
Yeah.
And the logo of the Green Man, he's got sunglasses on.
you
So,
go.
like, so appropriate.
He's got his Wayfarers on.
He does. He does.
It's crisp and easy drinking, and it's got all those tropical fruit and citrusy flavors and aromas, and just is delightful.
And I do like the hint of pith in my mouth because it kind of dries things out a little bit.
Okay.
Exactly. I don't know what to say about that.
So you're saying
Some
your
people
mouth
like a golden promise. I'm just saying.
So you're saying your mouth isn't moist.
Wow.
Not today. Come on, man. It's, you know what? You guys need to grow up.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that pith is just a little white part inside the peel. Come on. Like y'all haven't had a little pith on you.
Or in ya.
Or in you.
Ew.
You know, we're all basically 90% pith anyways.
I thought we're 90% water. Okay. Well, anyways.
I'll let you make the connection then.
Okay. I think this is delightful.
Just classic
Gosh.
American style IPA.
Yeah, it
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, nice use of Citra and Simcoe. Huge fan.
Yeah, the hops are doing all the work in this
Yeah.
one. The grain bill is just, it's there to present everything.
Well, I like
the hops.
the
Yeah.
fact they use the white wheat, which is like extremely light, but it still gives a little bit of sweetness and a little
And
bit
it
of that extra body.
softens it
to
up a bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No caramel. Nothing
Right. Yeah,
to
nothing.
compete
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
But again, no fuss, no muss, in the scheme of things. And we already are in love with the regular IPA. This is nice to know that this is a departure from that one, but it's still classic. It's balanced. It's everyday
It is classic.
drinking,
And as we talk
you know?
about now defunct, but great former breweries, this reminds me a little of the Liberty IPA.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Don't be a roadblock, Reverend Mark.
The beer is coming around.
So we're gonna have another. Oh wait, what are we gonna rate?
Yeah,
this
what are we
beer?
going to rate this beer?
I mean, what do you guys want to rate it, man? I mean, that's
I'm like, for what it is.
Okay, we're going into the
What it
5
is.
range. We got the happy hands.
we're back to the fives.
Back to the 5s.
No jazz hands, happy hands.
Happy hands. Okay, we've got time for another one. So let's talk about the Trickster Tropical Juicy IPA. This one's got a little bit more ABV on it. This is a 7% ABV. Their Juicy Tropical American IPA is brewed with a combo of American two-row and English Pale Ale malt. They create a platform for us to launch Carpet Bombing Barrage. Their words, not mine. Of El Dorado, Mosaic, and Simcoe for your taste buds. We hopped this beer only at Whirlpool before dry hopping twice for almost 3 pounds per barrel of dry hops.
Wow. So to me, like Simcoe and El Dorado are both sort of aggressive hops. But what I like is, Mosaic is my favorite hop, and it's a very well-rounded hop. So it feels like it's sort of kind of
refereeing.
Yeah. It's like, hey, whoa, easy guys. Let's not get too crazy.
Yep.
But I like what each of those hops brings to this beer.
Yeah, because you do get some of the tropical stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of the Wayfarer turned up to 11. It's a lot more intense. It has more complexity. But the hops are even just more in your face. They're there. And what you were saying too about those the El Dorado and the Simcoe. I mean, they're just all over the place in this.
Yeah.
They are, but it's still balanced. That nice creaminess that's there just helps kind of glide everything along. And I mean, if you're not used to El Dorado hops, this is a nice showcase of that, like in a not too pungenty, kind of way, which I really am enjoying. And I'm also enjoying the fact that we started off with like their basic IPA, and then we went to their Wayfarer, and now we're kind of stepping up with this one.
The palate bruiser.
Well, yeah,
but it doesn't. It doesn't.
No.
No, it is a nice, refreshing.
But what's cool,
juicy IPA
is like in each one of them, the malt bill is exactly right to match the hop profile.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So balanced.
And that's the markers of a really good brewer too, to know when to kind of roll with the punches, and let the hops still shine.
Yeah, well, and just to keep either thing from getting too out of whack.
Yeah.
Because and especially the bigger a beer gets, the harder it is to keep that balance between the malt and the hops.
Right. The only thing I would just ask of everybody else is that there's a massively amount of hops used on the dry hopping, and I'm getting some of the aroma, but I don't know that I'm like getting overwhelmed by it. So
I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's the only thing I would like kind of
It's a little more
backpedal
aroma.
on a little bit, that
Little
I'm
bit.
not getting that, but everything else is just right spot on. But I'm not getting what it's suggested here in the nose.
But maybe is that because it's fresh and it's cold?
It
Like
could
if
be.
it warmed up a little bit.
Yep.
Right.
And I mean, and there's a fine line with the warmer IPA too, but
Right.
maybe
How
that's all
fresh is
that's
this
needed.
one?
It could
Yeah.
be. It could be.
Is that good? What do you think, Sean?
It's tasty. It's very fresh, and it's the Mosaic is definitely nicely balanced by the El Dorado and Simcoe. It's not a Mosaic in your face, but you definitely know it's there.
Sure. Well, and it's not a big old cat pee slapping them.
And it's not the Simcoe. Yeah, it's not a Simcoe
So it's
bomb.
not too much of any one thing, which is great.
Yeah. No,
They did a great job with it.
Yeah.
they really did. Yeah. We are going to rate the Trickster from Green Man a 4.
So tricky.
I'm just so impressed by this flight. And as I'm looking at our empty cans, the variety is, you're not seeing any pastry stouts. You're not seeing any funky lactose bombed.
Like nothing goofy.
Yeah.
No,
They
no.
always have done a great job. And I think back to a long time ago when I was in retail, you could always count on all the Green Man beers being perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Consistency.
You owe it to yourself to go and visit Green Man the next time that you're in Asheville. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. That's going to wrap it up for today. If you're listening to us online, do yourself a favor and tap.
Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, taparoo.
Just tap that subscribe button and get it out of the way. The easiest way to listen to our show is to ask Siri, Alexa, Google, or Uncle Larry even to play podcast Sips, Suds, and Smokes.
Oh, it's my turn.
It is!
Hey-o, we love your feedback and can reach us online at info@sipsudssmokes.com. Oh, sorry, sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sips Suds Smokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll be able to interact with the thousands of other fans and those social media platforms.
Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode. How many stars?
5 stars.
5 stars.
If you're listening to us online, that's a big help to
rate
us,
us
and
5
we get to
stars.
see your feedback as
5
well.
stars.
Well, good Boy Kendall, thank you so much for joining.
It was really great to be here on Green Man Day. I love these guys.
Yay! And please tell us about your blog.
My beautiful wife and I blog about the good news of good beer at beermakes3.com.
Reverend Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And it is so good to be here to discuss Green Man finally.
I know, right?
Finally.
It's
Thank
almost
you.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Good boy Sean, thanks for being here.
Glad to be back. All I can say is, hello, darkness, my old friend. Green Man Porter still tastes great again.
Gosh,
Yeah.
yes. Good boy Dave.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hated it.
Dave, we really depreciate you.
Such love.
You're so
such love.
spatial.
This is Good Gal Juliana. Thank you so much for joining us. Catch you next time and keep on chuggling.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.